Everyone told him he was insane. 22 million for a dead wasteland, not a single blade of grass for miles. His own financial advisor said it would bankrupt him. But what he did next, NASA could see it from space. I'm Patrick, and welcome back to Lovely Adventures. This is a story of how one man spent $2 billion buying America's most broken land and turned it into the greatest ecological comeback in human history. We're talking about an empire larger than Delaware, a prehistoric giant that hadn't walked American soil in over 10,000 years, and a business model so genius it made conservation profitable. By the end of the video, you'll see why bringing back a single animal literally changed the planet, visible from orbit. Stick around because the science behind this is absolutely mind-blowing. Picture this, 1989, Ted Turner, the CNN guy, is standing on a Montana hillside staring at 113,000 acres of nothing, the Flying D Ranch, a moonscape. Decades of cattle grazing had destroyed it so completely you could walk for miles without seeing native grass. Just dirt, dust, death. Everyone laughed at the city slicker from Atlanta who thought he could fix what ranchers had destroyed for generations. But here's what nobody understood. Turner wasn't just buying land, he was buying the broken pieces of a lost world. Over the next 30 years, he'd acquire more than 2 million acres across the American West. That's bigger than Delaware, bigger than most national parks. His Vermillion Ranch alone, 558,000 acres stretching from rolling plains to alpine tundra over 12,900 feet high. But to bring this dead land back to life, he needed something specific, something that held the secret to rebirth in its very DNA. The American bison. Now, before you click away thinking this is just about buffalo, listen to this. In the 1800s, 60 million bison roamed the Great Plains. By 1890, fewer than 1,000 existed, most in zoos. But here's the crazy part. Turner didn't just want to save them. He understood that they were the engine that could bring entire ecosystems back from the dead. Here's why. Bison are literal ecosystem engineers. Unlike cattle that graze the same spots repeatedly, compacting soil, bison are constantly moving. Their sharp hooves, nature's aerators, break up hard earth, letting it breathe. When they wallow in dust, they create shallow depressions that collect rainwater, microhabitats for insects and plants, and their grazing style, clipping grass instead of ripping it out by the roots, actually makes the grass grow stronger. The transformation was so profound that NASA captured it from space. Satellite photos of Turner's ranches, once brown and barren, began turning vibrant green. An ecological miracle visible from orbit. Let that sink in. This man changed the planet so much you can literally see it from space. But the bison were just the beginning. Now here's something that sounds completely impossible. In the arid West, where water is more valuable than gold, Turner increased the amount of available water on his land. How? Not with technology, but by restoring nature's plumbing. On the Vermillion Ranch, a 15-year project is underway to restore the Rio Grande cutthroat trout, New Mexico's state fish, to over 120 miles of native streams. They removed invasive brook trout, restored vegetation, and then something magical happened. Beavers returned. Those beavers built dams, created cooler, deeper pools, recharged groundwater for entire valleys. Fix one part of the ecosystem, the whole thing starts healing itself. While traditional ranchers eliminate predators, Turner embraced them. Mountain lions, black bears, coyotes, animals that hadn't been seen for decades, started returning on their own. His ranches now support some of the healthiest predator populations in the American West. This created a natural laboratory where scientists study the brutal dance between cougars, black bears, untangling mysteries that were erased from the landscape a century ago. But Turner's most ambitious project, that was still coming. As the land healed, Turner built something extraordinary, a modern-day Noah's Ark. The Mexican gray wolf in 1997, fewer than 50 existed in the entire world. Disease wiped out entire litters, generic problems threatened the bloodline. Turner's latter ranch became one of only 3 facilities in America where captive bred wolves could learn to be wild again. Since 1998, over 140 wolves have passed through. In 2021, his ranch became the first private land to host a wild pack translocation. But here's the wildest one. Have you ever heard of the bison tortoise? These 100-pound prehistoric giants vanished from America 10,000 years ago, before the pyramids were built. By the early 2000s, fewer than 2,500 remained in a tiny patch of Mexico. Experts said saving them was hopeless. They take 20 years to reach sexual maturity. Turner proved them wrong. From just 30 tortoises acquired in 2006, his ranches have produced over 800 hatchlings. And here's the kicker. They've released the first U.S.-born bison tortoises back into their ancestral homeland in 10 millennia. It's like bringing a living fossil back from the dead. But here's what makes Turner a genius. He made conservation profitable because Turner knew something crucial. If this wasn't a sustainable business, it would die with him. Ted's Montana Grill, a restaurant chain built on one revolutionary idea: use the bison to save the bison, create a national market for bison meat, generate revenue to fund the conservation that produces it. Turns out Americans love bison. It's healthier than beef, more protein, less fat, higher iron. And because bison are perfectly adapted to prairie, they have a way smaller environmental footprint. The restaurants, now over 40 locations, have served 50 million bison meals. A vertically integrated system, pasture to plate, every burger becomes a tool for ecological restoration. It's conservation capitalism at its finest. But wait, there's more happening here that nobody talks about. Turner's 2 million acres have become one of the most important ecological research sites on Earth. Universities from around the globe conduct groundbreaking studies on everything from climate change to wildlife behavior. Graduate student Ben Legler was documenting plant species on the Viermo Ranch. High on alpine slope above the timberline, he found a delicate purple flower. Nobody had ever seen it before, a species entirely new to science. Phlox vermonaceus, the Viermo phlox, think about that. By restoring the land, Turner literally created the opportunity for new knowledge to emerge. When we destroy ecosystems, we're not just losing what we know is there, we're losing everything we hadn't yet had the chance to discover. Here's something wild. This massive wilderness operation uses technology that would make Silicon Valley jealous. $3,000 GPS collars on bison that don't just track location, they monitor health in real time. The system can predict when a female is about to give birth, detect illness before symptoms appear. Drones and aircraft survey wildlife populations across the landscape that would take ground crews weeks to assess. Ancient ecology meets cutting-edge technology, and it's producing a fire hose of data that's advancing scientific understanding at unprecedented speed. But Turner's quest went even deeper. He wasn't just saving any bison, he was preserving their ancient genetic legacy. The Castle Rock herd on his Viermo Ranch, they've been on that land for over 100 years. Genetic testing proves something incredible. These bison are free of cattle DNA that has contaminated even Yellowstone herds. They're a pure, uncorrupted link to the millions of bison that once defined America. The herd roams freely across 500,000 acres, hands-off management, natural patterns. This isn't just about bringing back an animal, it's about preserving a biological treasure that, once lost, could never be recreated. From barren wasteland to thriving world, Ted Turner's empire proves something powerful. Conservation and capitalism don't have to be enemies. His ranches are living laboratories testing what the future of coexistence should look like. And they remind us of something we've forgotten. The smartest progress often begins by returning to nature itself. Remember that moonscape from 1989? That wasteland everybody said was hopeless? Today, it's so green NASA can see it from space. Water flows where it was dry. Predators hunt where they were extinct. Tortoises walk where they vanished 10,000 years ago. And a new species of flower blooms that nobody knew existed. That's not just conservation, that's proof that we can bring worlds back from the dead. What inspires you most about this story? Drop a comment below. And if you want more stories about the hidden intersections between wealth, science, and saving the planet, hit subscribe. Because the future, it's still worth building. This is Patrick with Lovely Adventures, and we'll see you in the next one.